Welcome to Keeping in Sync with Microsoft 365 for this week, the 27th of February. As with every week, reminder that dates may change and some of the settings, including the ones I'm going to be talking about today, may not appear in your tenant, and if I get my way, one of them certainly won't. Yeah, let's not be Brian Fontana about it. Coming up first is Microsoft is adding a new option under the export menu in Microsoft Lists that you might see in SharePoint, which is the option to export to Power BI. Now with this particular feature, you can easily and quickly create a data set based on the list in your Power BI service to the environment or the workspace of your choice. Now it is important to note that this is actually different from simply connecting a Power BI report to visualize a SharePoint list, as this actually creates a full data set which you can then manage permissions to. It's also important to note that if you have a sensitivity label applied to the list, it won't be inherited by the dataset, which is slightly troubling. Yeah, let's let the compliance folks figure this one out. Anyway, this feature is rolling out late February to early March. And in OneDrive, you'll soon be able to favorite items from the OneDrive on the OneDrive web interface from document libraries and easily access them using the favorites pivot on the left navigation. You'll be able to favorite or unfavorite files using the favorite or unfavorite command in the context menu, command bar, or simply by pressing the star icon, which will show up when you hover over a file. This is rolling out early March to early April. Also in the world of OneDrive, Microsoft has made updates to the shared/shared with you experience that lives in the left nav of OneDrive on the web, and will make it easier for you to quickly get back to shared content. The refreshed OneDrive shared with you view will enable you to find files and folders that are shared with you over email, chats, and meetings all in one place. So you actually got some context as to why this file is shared with you. And in addition, you'll be able to identify updates to files by using the activity column, as well as leveraging the filter pills to easily find files. This is rolling out late February to mid-April. Now into Teams, which is where everything's at these days. A number of updates are rolling out to Teams room devices in a meeting room near you, hopefully. If it is a Android powered meeting room, because it just says right there on the screen that it's by Android. So starting with the ability to join a meeting by inputting an ID and passcode. You'll also be able to add participants to an ad hoc meeting. So if you've walked into the meeting room and just started a meeting as opposed to scheduling one, you'll also be able to extend your room reservation. There's also now the front row layout, so it gives you a more in-person experience. You'll also be able to show the meeting chat in the gallery, large gallery, and together modes, and also have annotations and more. This is rolling out early March to late April, however, is subject to device manufacturers making them available. And if you're using a Windows-based Teams room device, then don't worry, you're not being left out, as there's a huge array of new features coming to you, such as a revitalized user interface and an enhanced layout switcher. So yeah, there's some other features as well, like watermarks and end-to-end encryption, but you'll need the Teams premium license for those. This is rolling out late February to late March. Now, pronouns, very important topic, and they're the words that we use to replace someone's name in a sentence, such as he, she, or they in the English language. You'll soon be able to add pronouns directly to your profile card in Outlook on the web and in Teams, and this is actually quite useful for people who identify as something other than what people would normally label them as. It's also useful for people who haven't added a profile photo and have a name that could go either way, such as, Alex or Lorian. Now this feature is actually turned off by default and needs to be enabled by admins. However, once that's been done, only you can actually specify your pronouns. Nobody else has the ability to do that. This is rolling out late February to early April, hopefully once your admin has enabled it. Now, huge news that we've been waiting years to happen in the world of Teams is previously the Help app has opened in the full screen mode or within the Teams app. which would fill out the Teams window. Whereas with this update, the help will open into a separate pop-out in a separate window. Yay. This is rolling out early to late March. Now, action meeting category insights are pretty important because categories in Outlook and Teams allow you to easily tag and label calendar events. If you haven't gotten into it, you are missing out. It really makes things a lot easier and adds some color to your calendar. Now, with this particular feature, you can actually get insights on the time that you spend on a per meeting category in the Viva Insights app inside of Microsoft Teams. Using the meeting category insights, you can then see how your meeting time is distributed by a percentage breakdown, how that's changed. So you've got meeting trends and details about each of the meetings contributing to those categories. So the meeting details. Now, an upcoming update to this feature will also allow you to take actions on these meetings to align your time spent in meetings with your goals. These actions will include the ability to view or edit meeting invites from within that same app, canceling, declining, very important things, and categorizing or recategorizing. Now, this new functionality does, however, require that you have the Viva Insights subscription as part of either Viva Suite or standalone. So it's rolling out to those lucky licensed people early to late March. Now, if you've decided to join the fun of going back to the office and choose to drive in using your vehicle, then you'll enjoy this feature while you sit in traffic and poison our atmosphere for future generations. With Apple CarPlay, if you've got an iPhone and a car that supports Apple CarPlay, you'll be able to view upcoming meetings and join them as well from the Calendar app in Teams on that CarPlay interface. And this view will actually also display a progress bar to show how much of that meeting has taken place already. This is rolling out mid to late March. Now, leaving Teams for a brief moment. Viva Goals currently has a field named type while creating and filtering OKRs, which designates where the OKR would be created. Now, the terminology is actually changing from type to Teams because, well, sorry, we're not venturing from Teams, because in addition to this name change, the functionality of the Teams field with lowercase t will actually expand to include additional context and faster search capability for assigning OKR owners to a team. Uppercase T. So yeah, but it'll be written with a lowercase t, just to be confusing. So when you're assigning it to a team, it's not a team of people, it's a Microsoft team. It's a team in Microsoft Teams. God, this is confusing. I'm wearing the t-shirt too. This is rolling out late February to early March if you're licensed for Viva Goals. Now, in case you haven't seen the news, Microsoft is officially rebranding Yammer to be Viva Engage because we need more Viva products. This has already taken place with the Communities app in Microsoft Teams becoming Viva Engage, and will soon be seen, will be updated across other areas of the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, including within Yammer itself. Now, this particular change is rolling out late February. However, how long it actually takes for Microsoft to replace the term Yammer name everywhere will it's be subjective. So they'll give a time frame, but we're still going to see the Yammer name for quite some time, but probably less than we'll see the Office name, like with the change to Microsoft 365. Now, in some other news where I don't have screenshots, Microsoft is adding the ability for you to send a document from Word to Kindle using the Send to Kindle service from Amazon. This sounds like a good feature and is rolling out from mid-March to mid-April, but my God, I hope your IT admins disable this before you ever see it, as it's an incredibly dangerous method of bypassing content compliance measures that are in place, because it effectively shunts the file over to Kindle as stores it there and bypasses everything. So yeah, please, if you're an IT admin, turn this off. Now, if you've ever tried to recall an email, and many of us have enjoyed seeing this happen, you'll know that it generally doesn't work. The reason is because that's generally been it's required Outlook to be open to process the recall request, as it was a client-side recall. Whereas what Microsoft is doing is making this occur via the cloud now, which means that a recall will actually work considerably better than before. Plus, it'll actually offer you a status report. Now, however, it is important to note that recalls only ever work on emails to internal recipients they will never, ever work externally. So don't expect that to ever work with this new change or to ever work in the future, because you're trying to recall an email from someone else's service, which you don't have the right to do. But at least internally, you get to save face. Now this is rolling out mid-February to mid-March. Now, previously, when you could add an app to a Teams meeting, it was only for what's called private meetings, effectively one-to-one, one-to-many meetings, as though directly with individuals. With this particular update, you'll be able to add apps to meetings in team channels, which are becoming more effective and useful. Now, if you didn't know that you could add an app to a Teams meeting, now you do. This is rolling out early to late March. And finally, rules on lists and libraries when you use the alert feature. Allows you to send automatic email notifications based on events in the list or library, such as somebody modifying a file that isn't you or a new file being uploaded. Now, previously, these email notifications were sent from a generic SharePoint Online address with like no -reply at sharepointonline.com. Whereas in order to improve the security of the rules feature, email notifications will actually be sent from the email account of the user who last modified the rule or created the rule if it hasn't been modified since then. So it'll actually, be prepared for that change. It'll be coming from a human being, not a generic system address. This particular change is available right now. And that's it for keeping in sync with Microsoft 365 this week.